Have you kept up with that Tim Kennedy stuff at all? Because he briefly talked about it in there.
Not really, man. I
They're
saw
the ones
some of
that they're
stuff.
the ones that started
They
the whole
broke
thing.
it.
Rolling.
You know, they broke it, and then obviously Nate from Valhalla VFT.
Yeah, he jumped on it.
He jumped on it, and I've talked to Nate about it quite a bit.
Yeah,
bro, I don't have time for that. I don't have the bandwidth to hate on other people.
I don't either.
You know, like I liked him personally.
Yeah,
from the interactions that I've had with him.
Yeah, me too.
I won't call him a friend only because we haven't spent enough time together.
Yeah, I don't know that well.
He's an acquaintance. We don't know each other well enough to say we're friends.
If I was a friend, I would have your number, probably.
Yeah, I mean, I have Tim's number, and he messaged me every once in a while. He checked on Mike and stuff, but, like, he's an acquaintance.
Yeah.
But I liked him, and he's done a lot of good in the community. But, you know, like, he's a net positive in the community.
Yeah.
And he's done amazing things for the recruitment of the Army and the Army Special Forces.
Yeah.
And he's done great things for jiu-jitsu and MMA and the apogee stuff and all that stuff. So it's like, I don't know the circumstances. I don't know.
I'm also not a military guy, so I don't know what the gravity of what they're talking about is.
Valor device on your Bronze Star. Like, I don't know all that shit, dude.
I don't either.
What I will tell you, and you know this as well as I do, like, have I had people misintroduce me? Yeah, I have. I've had people introduce me to a group of people I'm about to speak with, and he says something that's not necessarily true. Now, I usually go, hey, thanks very much, guys. Glad to be here. Thanks for the introduction. I was not such and such. I was only such and such, you know?
Yeah.
And I get it out of the air right away.
But
Greg, we got a veteran here from Special Operations. Greg, well, actually, I'm not a veteran.
But do you think that because of, and I'm not downplaying the amount of times you've done it, but do you think because he's done it so many times that he's just like, whatever, dude, let me just go talk?
Yes, and I agree.
Maybe.
Like, so I think,
I'm not defending
I'm
anybody.
for
I'm just
sure
questioning.
But I think, like, so now that, look, I'm no Tim Kennedy, so my speaking stuff's on a small scale.
Exactly.
But now you're getting introduced by someone else to a room of 500 people that you're speaking to, and you're going to be kind of in and out, and it's time is tight, and everyone's clapping and cheering. You're on stage, and hey guys, thanks, I'm glad to be here, and you just go into your speech.
Yeah.
Right. But now someone nitpicks that so-and-so, the guy who introduced you, said you were this, but you weren't actually that. But are you going to take the time to make him look like an idiot in front? You know what I'm saying?
I think
super nuanced.
With this particular one, I think there's more to it than that. I
so
get
too.
the gist of what you're saying.
I think, are there some embellishment stuff? Do we all? But also, like, we all remember situations differently.
I'm not in that world, so I don't know.
We all remember situations differently. You know, it's like you and I could be in the exact same gunfight shooting.
Oh, that's
what
that's
you're
very
gonna see,
true.
What you're going to see and recall is going to be slightly different or drastically different from what I'm going to see and recall because we're looking at it from two different angles, you know? And so in my whole thing, what it all comes down to is people's lives and decisions catch up to them. And it's none of my business. I have my own life to worry about. I got my own people to worry about. I got my own family to worry about. I got my own friends to worry about. I got my own business to worry about. So that's where I'm driving it all.
A lot of other stuff going on right now.
A lot of other stuff. I don't need to worry about whether Tim actually threw 50 hand grenades or not.
That's true.
And quite frankly, I don't care. He's always been super cool with me. Whatever.
It is an entertaining story, though.
It is an entertaining story. Yes, absolutely. So anyway, welcome to Together We Go. Here with my homie Mason. We're going to learn about Mason, Gunfufighter. Today, he is an OG of Fieldcraft Survival.
About as OG as you can get.
Yeah.
I think I was here. I was like the third person here. This is going to be some odd names for some of you new people and maybe not for some of you OGs yourselves of the fans. But I think Kurt was probably the first OG who is long since gone. Then there was Travis Hess, I think, and I came on at the same time.
I don't know any of these people.
He's since long gone. He was kind of the marketing guy that, little Mike Hernandez does now. Then it was me. Me and Hess came on at the same time. Then Mike Hernandez, not even maybe 7 months later, actually went to a course that Mike G and I were teaching together in Arizona. Mike Hernandez took the course. like paid for the course and was like kind of hired on the spot because of his knowledge on off-roading and Jeeps. And then, you know, history in the making, he's still here trucking along.
Yeah. We're holding on to him.
Yeah, you have
bringing you back into the fold.
You
and
have
we're
to.
holding on to Mikey.
Mikey's one of the only OGs that never left, you know, versus I was always helping, but I was separated as an employee for many years. So
yeah, I mean, Mikey was our mobility director when I came on, and now with the change of command of the company,
Mikey's like the glue kind of holding the last bits and pieces to build off of,
and everybody's
what we're doing now. He's that guy.
Yeah, for sure. And he's great at what he does. Obviously his knowledge of off-road and mobility stuff is phenomenal. But then, like, everybody just likes Mikey.
It's hard not to like Mikey.
You know, it's like he's infectious. You're around him, you're just like, I like this.
It's the laugh.
Yeah, his laugh, and he's not serious, really.
No.
He doesn't take himself seriously, but he's professional and everything. So
it's good people.
Yeah, super good people. So tell us about, like, what you're doing now, and then let's bring us back to, like, the start.
So now, other than getting back with you guys and helping Fieldcraft in terms of teaching and marketing and whatever, and you know, here we are here doing podcasts, right? I have a very small, and by small, I mean, I'm probably my only customer, t-shirt company, Gunfufighter, wearing one now. And I only did that mainly because I like the name and I wanted to wear my own stuff.
Yeah.
So like, it's not a money maker at all. In fact, it costs me more than I make.
I'll be your number 2 customer. I'll be your second customer.
But I enjoy having that. It's fun. It's fun to pretend a little bit. And then I had a training company for a very short time with a couple of buddies, and then eventually it became only mine. And I think that we're at this point, we're transitioning that back to a Fieldcraft thing so that we can push that on. So anybody that follows that, sorry, it's probably going away, and we're gonna move back in with Fieldcraft and merge those back together and start teaching under that banner again. And then also. Law enforcement. I actually just passed my 19th year. I'll pass my 20 in law enforcement in the next month, but my 19th year sworn in like a day or two. And the last decade on a full-time SWAT team. Yeah. In Arizona. You
just got promoted.
I did. Yeah.
Big Sarge now.
Big Sarge. Yeah. People are asking why at 19 years am I doing this? And my biggest answer was, I didn't really know what to do. And if I didn't know what to do, it's going to probably leave at 20, like right at 20, which, to be truthful, anybody that's watching this in command staff, I'm not saying that's not going to happen. That still may happen. But the only way that I was going to stay past 20 at this time was to not be a line deputy or a line officer on the team. So the best way to do that without trying to figure out a place to go was to try to promote. And so I did the process thinking if I don't get promoted, well, then that's my answer.
Right.
I do my 20 and graciously bow out. And if I do, then I'm going to have decisions to make. So the next 11 months, 12 months is going to be very telling for me as what I do with the next steps in my career or my life, whether that's continuing as Big Sarge, or does that a more full-time role here doing this kind of stuff, right. Or what does that mean? Time will tell.
Yeah,
where I'm at, like what they're going to pay me, like what position I'll be at in the next 10 months, 12 months will be telling.
That's the same for Fieldcraft too.
We'll see
where you're going to be at, what we're going to pay you.
Don't know
whether there's a company in 3 or 4
I might get paid nothing, and I'm still here because I love you guys.
Because I might not get paid nothing either.
Yeah, you don't know. Yeah, so it's open. I've been married for 17 years. Been with her 23 years. 3 kids. So
big dog.
Just chilling, big dog.
2 trucks.
Everybody loves Achilles, man. Shout out to Olympian Cane Corso for hooking me up with a good dog. They just followed me,
Olympian Cane Corso. Okay,
yeah.
I was like, why are they following? They just followed me.
So Utah based. They're just north of us.
Okay.
Here in Salt Lake, where we're at headquarters, and yeah, dude, great group of guys. As far as I know, that I may be a little off on the details on their company, but he's a deputy. I believe deputy or police officer, many years, just like me. And then a wife is a trainer, a dog trainer, full-time trainer, I believe. And they're together. They have the side business of building really badass Cane Corso dogs.
Dude, Achilles is beautiful.
Yeah.
And I had a Cane Corso for years, and Achilles is like top notch. He's
fully trained, just great, great dog, man. I mean, as long as you don't mind slobber, probably. And I used to be a pit bull guy. I love their temperament towards family 100 times better.
Oh yeah,
Cane Corsos are.
Oh, they're super. And kids
and loves my kids.
Yeah.
Absolutely love my kids.
What's he weigh?
He's probably like a 105 right now.
Okay.
Little known fact on Cane Corsos, the little bit of research I did before I got him, their original weight as an Italian Mastiff war dog was between 95 and 105.
Yeah.
So they could be agile. And as we do in America all the time, we make things bigger and better.
Yep.
So now they're pushing, 150, 175 in America. But so he's more of a traditional weight Cane Corso, which I don't mind because I want to be able to bring him places just like every other swinging dick canine guy.
Maximus was 160 pounds.
Yeah. See,
that was a bit big.
That's a big dog.
That was a big dog.
That's hard on them. I mean, they're very cool looking.
His hips
but
are not good, dude.
It's very hard on them, especially any big dog. Just like any big human, like it's hard on your body carrying around that much weight.
Kudos to you for promoting. We were just talking about this in one of the team rooms we did, is that I think a lot of guys, the good guys, don't want to promote because they don't want to move out of SWAT, or they don't want to move out of their unit or their job or their position. And then, but like, you can't.
It's hard to convince, even for me, it's hard to convince guys. And I'm not this, let me talk from outside of me so that it's not like I'm tooting on my own horn, but it's hard to convince dudes with talent, to go do something that's not. Okay, so let's use me as an example. Let's say, I'm better than I am because I'm mediocre at best.
He's being humble.
Let's say, I'm married with 3 kids. I got kids in soccer now. I want to go to their soccer, and granted, I'm on call every day, but I had a Monday through Thursday schedule, 6 to 4. I'm off decent hours. I get interrupted, but not crazy often. How do you convince that guy? And this goes back to everything's got to be fair and equitable, right? That guy gets promoted, i.e. me, with my background, and goes straight to weekend nights patrol. Meaning, my kids are on school. None of them are young, right? So meaning that at 4 o'clock on a Saturday, because I've been sleeping all day, I'm going to now go to work.
Yeah.
4 o'clock Friday, when my kids are getting off, I'm going to go to work. And while I'm off, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, like they're in school. So I'm just by myself. Now, granted, I'm going to be the shape of my life because the last time I was on that squad, I was doing jiu-jitsu 2 times a day. But my life with my kids and my family is non-existent because I'm going to be working every time that they're not in school. And I'm going to be off every time they're in school and I'm not available to them. So how do you convince a guy? Let's say rewind my clock.
At my age, you don't.
And I have 5 years. Let's say I'm 35. That's not a bad age to be a big sarge.
Yep.
And I've got 5 years on a full-time team. How do you convince me at that stage of my life when I'm enjoying my kids at their age, because they're prime age to spend time with, to go do that, take that hurdle, and then I go straight to weekend nights? Yeah. How do you convince that guy?
I mean, I don't think you do. Man, working reverse schedule, working nights is so damaging to you and your body.
Yep.
To your family, to your spouse, and to your kids. It really is, unfortunately. It's super damaging. And that's why we see such a massively high rate of divorce, of cops utilizing, obviously abusing alcohol and then getting into pain meds, sleep meds. Yeah,
divorce rate is wildly high. Wildly high in terms of jobs. Well, in all fairness, divorce rate in general in our
yeah, it's bad in our society, but it's way worse.
Way worse in
law
law
enforcement.
Yeah. Well, and that's almost like, and it's. I feel like we talked about this earlier. I feel like, and I'm past the point where you can do this to me, because I'm to the point where I almost have 20 years and I'm in complete control of whether or not I stay or I go. You have no control over it anymore. But I almost wonder. And I remember talking to a chief about this, actually not that long ago. And I'm saying, this is before I even tested. and I wasn't thinking about testing when I had this conversation, but I said, I almost wonder, are we doing ourselves a disservice in law enforcement that we're not recruiting for positions? Are we not recruiting for sergeant positions, recruiting for even SWAT positions? Like we just say, hey, here's our test. Would you guys like to come out? And I'm not saying bad on me for not doing this, bad on my guys for not doing this more. Like we do this now a little bit better than we've ever done before. We should have been doing this from the get-go. You're out there with the guys on the road and saying, hey, dude, that dude just did that. He handled this call phenomenally. Hey, what do you think about coming to SWAT? And then you groom that guy to come test. Like, yeah, you still have a testing process, right? But you groom that guy for the test. Let's see, you see a sergeant out there and you're like, hey, I'd like you to be a sergeant of X. You know, maybe it's patrol. Maybe that's what you think. You could bring a lot to this patrol. Maybe it's SWAT sergeant. Maybe it's canine sergeant. Maybe it's homicide detective sergeant. And you pick people and groom a lieutenant position. Yep. You pick people and groom people. So it's not just like, who do I have that's a lieutenant? Who do I have that's a captain? Who do I have that's a sergeant? Sometimes you get lucky, you know, and you got guys that have been to the unit, that particular unit. You put them in the place and they work phenomenally. But I think a lot of times it's hard to find the right pick. And that's when people go through positions like, hey, this position's had 3 captains in the last year. This position's had 2 sergeants in the last 6 months. Why? Well, why is that? Because these guys aren't fitting, or maybe they don't like it. It could be a slew of reasons that has nothing to do with them, right? But why is that? Because we're not doing that. I'm throwing this as an idea. I'm not saying this is fact, obviously, so don't chastise me too much, all you command staff that are watching this. Right. But
Mason doesn't know what he's talking about.
Yeah, right. He's only been a sergeant for less than 2 seconds. I actually haven't been one at all, but treat it more like a business in the sense that, are you picking the right people for the right positions? Like, I'm not just going to go ask the guy that's been a janitor for 5 years, like, you've done your time, dude. You want to run the marketing department? Right. Like, that guy's like, he might be good at it. I guess you don't know, but I'm not going to pick him. I'm going to pick the guy that's good at marketing.
So on that note, and this is something that I've dealt with, and, you know, I still obviously I'm in a SWAT group chat with all my SWAT guys. And I always hear all the scuttlebutt behind the scenes. So I'm sure probably like my agency, your agency has open testing. Hi, baby.
Yeah.
Has open testing.
Which I think is the go-to, right? That's the go-to. Normal.
That's the normal. How many people do you know that test well and have passed the test but are horrible leaders or supervisors because they don't have any leadership skill set? So I think you can train leadership? Yes. There are principles of leadership you can train, but I think also there are people who are just natural leaders, plain and simple. It's true. Right? And so, like you said, you identify someone who's a natural leader on a patrol shift, and they're just a patrol officer. Lils, here. And they're just a patrol officer, but you see he's delegating, he's taking charge of a scene before a supervisor arrives, he's switched on. Maybe that's the guy who should be taking the test, or maybe pushed to the head of the line to take the test.
Maybe that guy, like me, when I first tested, dude, I did it for fun. I go, there's no way that I'm going to be good enough to be on that. Like that, they're finally testing for that position.
Right.
Like I'm just going to go to see. And that's what got my story started, because I went and did that and ended up, I think there was like 14 people that tried out at that time. Maybe 12. I don't remember. And like 8 of us made the list, and I was like 7th or 6th or something. Like I was at the bottom, but I was on the list.
Like, oh, shit.
And I was like, wait a minute. I didn't put any effort into this whatsoever. And I made the list. And that's me not understanding what I'm capable of at that time. Right. I only had, 7 years, 8 years on or something like that. And I'm like, maybe even less than that. It might've been even like 5 years on, 6 years on. And I go, you know what? I bet you if I put an effort into this, I bet you I could get on this team. Yeah. Sure enough, I went and hired, shout out to Ryan Bader, who had his physical fitness guy, condition guy at the time when he was knee deep in his UFC contract. I was actually training jiu-jitsu. That's when I started jiu-jitsu at his gym, Bader's gym under Maracaba. And so I said, hey, here's what I'm going to have to test. Here's my test. I test in a month. I need you to get me ready. And so I did 2 days. for that month. I went and did, oral board training with a chief that I knew at the time. Went over to his house and just practiced doing an oral board with him. I was running on the treadmill, the gas mask on, doing really dumb shit that
we all did that dumb
shit that I knew that I would have to do to
Right.
get on the team.
Right.
Fast forward a little bit, took me a little bit, but yeah, I made it. The tenacity of knowing at that point after that first one that I knew that I could possibly do it when I didn't believe myself before that. And then I was like, bullshit, I got this, dude. I can do. If I put effort in, I didn't put any effort in. If I put effort in, I'm getting this.
Yeah.
Sure enough, I eventually got on, and a decade later, I'm leaving for the stripes.
So full-time team, and I don't know if you want to go into specifics of your team size, capability. All
So
that stuff.
this is probably going to throw a lot of any team guys across the nation that are in law enforcement and on full-time teams. So we are, fourth, fifth in size in the nation, county-wise. So vast, very, very vast. Like could be an hour and 40 minutes to a call out from where I'm living, and I'm on the edge of our county. We had 12 guys. One is a sergeant, 11 guys. And we respond to the entire county. So once you're on the team, you're on call until you're off the team outside of your vacation days.
Right.
What that means is for those guys that aren't team guys, and I shouldn't say that, aren't on a SWAT team. I say team guys, and people go, you're not on a team. Just like we can't use the word operator, right? We can't say that.
Operator.
We can't say that. That's not what we are.
Those people work for AT&T, right?
Yeah,
Plug
right.
the plugs in, right?
I was getting in trouble for. I don't like saying that word because you can get in trouble for it.
That's right. A SWAT
from
operator.
the actual operators out there, which we aren't operators. SWAT officers or SWAT deputies, right?
Yeah.
So anyway, so we're on call. You're on call until you leave. If you want a day off, for us, this is just for us. If you want a day off, you go check the calendar.
Mm-hmm.
I have Friday, Saturday, Sunday off as my days off, my RDOs, right? But I'm on call. So let's say I want Friday off because I'm off, but I want to come up here and film a podcast. Go to the calendar. There's 2 people on it. You're done. You don't even ask for it. You're not getting it, right?
Yeah.
So that's from the day I got on the team till next Monday. That's been my life being on call. Ironically, when I first got to the team, they had 4 vacancies. So me and another dude filled 2 vacancies, but we're brand new, so they couldn't.
Right, you're non-deployable.
They had 8 guys. They had 1 guy off, so they had 7. They were operating with 7 people for that large of a county.
Dude, that's crazy.
And back then, which we don't do anymore, thank goodness, it served its purpose. Really not smart ideas. We had everything fast. Didn't matter if it was dope or homicide suspect.
It was all what
everything.
Year was this, though?
The 15.
Okay, a little late still doing that, but there were some agencies still doing
we did
that.
it till probably 2020.
That's
20,
really
like
late.
2018 maybe.
Yeah.
Like we did it at least 3 years after I got there, and then started slowing down a little bit. So yeah, it was wild and fun, man.
Yeah.
And we worked a lot. Like with all that we were doing at that time, we weren't doing as much teaching. We were probably doing 320, 315, 320, whatever, search warrants, barricades, whatever per year. And we're down in the 200, low 200s, sometimes high, like 190s, 180s now, without doing the fast stuff. So still busy. I mean, 200 in a year for
that's a lot.
10 guys, 11 guys is a lot. But yeah, I couldn't have asked for a better decade with every guy that I've ever worked with there is phenomenal guys.
That's awesome. You use explosive breaching?
Yeah. We have, for our team, at least since I've been there, it was always a choice. When you got to the team, you either became a Sierra as your auxiliary,
that's a sniper for you guys,
or you became an explosive breacher. Yep. So there's 3 of us that were Sierras for the most part. Almost the entire time I've been there, 3 or 4 on our side, and then auxiliary with K9. Some of the K9 guys had guns too. And then the rest, everybody else was an explosive breacher. So it could be 5, 5 or 6 explosive breachers within the.
I remember you sending me a picture. You're sitting up in an urban hide, overlooking some sporting event. You're like, "Here's what I'm doing," and I'm like, "Oh man, that's boring."
Some of the most boring work that you can do as a Sierra for sure.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I got to go to sniper school, and it made me instantly realize that I never want to work operationally as a sniper. You know?
Yeah, the training is fun. It's a blast. It's the operational being a Sierra and being in one position and your back starting to ache and halfway through is the part that's not as fun.
Stalking in, setting up your hide, laying there for hours potentially.
Or sitting crooked in a truck.
Oh, horrible, man.
Sitting across the street from the house or whatever.
Yeah, it's horrible. So, where do you send your guys? Do you know what school you send your guys for explosives?
So Abner, it's a guy out of Vegas that comes into town. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, awesome.
Yeah. Yep. We have a whole setup where we're at. In fact, they use it regionally. They come out and do all sorts of training down there.
Awesome. And prior to SWAT, how long were you a road deputy, or did you work any other assignments prior to SWAT?
So I did mostly patrol. I worked back when I started, kind of like LA does, where you got to go work the jails or the courts.
Right, yeah.
So we did that back in the day. Eventually they went away from that. You don't have to do that anymore, and they realized that they couldn't do that anymore because we would do that, and then you'd get through your probation. Right. And then you get out to the road and they realize, oh, this guy sucks. Right. And then you can't get rid of him because you're off probation. So they kind of went away from that. But so I went down and did courts for about a year, a little over a year. And it was great. It was a good learning experience for me, especially going to the road, because then you get to see trials and see all that kind of stuff and how to not screw up, witnesses and stuff like that. And then I did mostly road. I did have one year stint as like dig pro. For like elected officials in town, which was fun, but also another job.
Dignitary protection, folks, is what he said.
Yeah, dignitary protection.
He said, dig pro, dig pro.
Yeah, dig pro.
Dig pro, dignitary protection.
Yeah.
What did you do for a year?
Yeah. And mainly just at the time it was the 2012 election cycle, so Michelle Bachman, Herman Cain, like all those people coming into town, and I'd help them out because I did auxiliary for the sheriff at the time. And then just a little bit more patrol after that while I was trying to process how to get onto the team. And then, the second half of my career was all team stuff.
No dope. You never worked dope. Huh?
No, I didn't. I mean,
lucky dude.
Yeah. The only dope cases I worked is when they called me to freaking go hit in the door. Yeah. It just didn't interest me really.
Yeah. Dude, that wears you out.
I bet.
That wears you down, dude.
That's funny that you say that because, and we were talking about family time and all that stuff. And I know guys, and this kind of getting off track on my story and going back to other story, but I know guys that have the greatest retirements because they spent so much time listening to a wire and getting overtime, but they don't know who their kids are. Yeah, they lost so much time with their kids, and I feel bad for them. So going back to that, I think that's a dying breed, that type of mentality. Most people are like me in the sense that they're choosing family over the job. So how do you get
guys that want to do that?
How do you get guys that are willing to take the stripes or take the hard jobs now? When people's mentality, and rightfully so, I think they should, but how do you get guys to take a healthy mix of family time and job time and still do the job well?
Yeah. I mean, it's rough. I was single, no kids when I started.
Yeah.
And it's like the job was everything for me. And I wanted to go catch bad guys and, had the opportunity to go to a narcotics unit.
Yeah.
And I was like, fuck yeah, let's go, But weird shit.
Yeah.
Weird shit happens.
Yeah. It's a rough decision to make, We need better people. We need to raise standards and whatnot, but also at the same time, like, how do you get people that have the emotional intelligence to understand that it's not a good job for them mentally, and get them to still, because that's the kind of mentality they need to do that job well, I think.
Yeah.
And then they don't want to do it because they understand what that costs.
It's weird going from like a uniformed, so I went from a uniformed street crimes unit.
Yeah.
Right. To a plainclothes narcotics unit where now I'm showing up in torn blue jeans and a t-shirt and just a little pistol stuck in my waistband pretty much.
Yeah.
And growing my beard out.
Yeah.
My hair's getting long. And like at some point in time, you lose identity as a cop.
Oh yeah.
You lose the identity. Cause I literally there were days where I would never even go into my precinct station, into my station. I had what we call cool car. I had a cool car.
Yeah.
Right. So I had I had a bunch, but like I would be driving around like a Chrysler Sebring or a minivan or a pickup truck or whatever, and I would go pick up informants, and we'd go buy a bunch of dope, and then I'd mark it and go put it in evidence, and then I'd go home.
Yeah.
That was my day, buying dope. And then the only cop thing that I did was had to put it in evidence.
Yeah.
You know?
It's funny. And I feel like dying breed, like you just don't see them as good at the dope game as they used to be in terms of how deep they're willing to go. Shout out to my boy Kevin. He used to jump in a dumpster and like get all rooted around in there before he'd go out and start doing stuff.
Yeah, that's a bit much. That's like without remorse type
Sometimes
shit.
he'd get stopped by the local and he'd be like, "What's up?" He couldn't give himself away, so he'd be like, "What do you want? I'm homeless. I'm homeless. Let me go. Let me walk."
I got felony stopped with an informant in the passenger seat, and we got felony stopped, pulled out with guns and stuff.
That's so funny you say that. So I come from a family of law enforcement. My dad was at the same agency for years, and he was one of the investigators in the Temple murders, if anybody can Google that, from back in the day in Tucson. Big, huge case back in the day. I think it was the 90s, I think. Anyway, he's undercover. He was working undercover and got like kind of TDY'd to temporary duty. So you're making me spell everything out this time so people don't know. They can Google it. He TDY'd to homicide while he was undercover. So big old beard, looked like a biker, driving an IROC Z28 as his take home.
Nice.
So he goes to Tucson. I wish he was here for the story because he tells it better than I do. But so he goes to Tucson and interviews the suspect.
Dude, we need to get your dad on. Come back up with your dad.
Ends up taking him into custody. And if anybody knows, Tucson to Phoenix is a couple hours away. Yeah. Handcuffing him to the side of the door in the front seat of the IROC Z28, getting back in the car and cruising back to go do his interviews and stuff like that after getting him in Tucson, and gets pulled over by the Department of Public Safety. Oh. So you can only imagine, dude with the beard down to his chest,
dude handcuffed.
Harley t-shirt, some ripped up jeans like you were talking about, and a dude handcuffed to his side of his door in an IROC Z28 with tint that's way past the legal limit.
Yeah.
With a state trooper.
How'd that work out for your dad?
So he basically told him, he's like, here's who I am. Here's what I'm doing. And I'm leaving. And the dude's like about to grab his gun. Like, no, you can't leave, sir. And he's like, listen, dude, you call whoever you got to call, but I'm leaving right now because I got to get this guy back to freaking Phoenix. And I don't know the final, but he ended up taking off and spraying the guy with a little gravel. Nothing enough to hurt him. Maybe dirty his shoes a little bit and taking off. Immediately called down when he got back because no cell phones.
Right. Yeah.
You're just in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah.
Hauled ass, got back to town, then left the guy on the side of the road and called back to the dispatch and say, hey, just so you guys are aware, this is what just happened. So if they're calling in about my plate, this is my plate. It's a take home, blah, blah, blah. And nothing ever happened with it. But you can only imagine if I was that state trooper and this guy looks like something out of the Dirty Dozen and he's got a dude handcuffed to the door.
It's wild. I've had some pretty crazy shit happen.
You could get in a lot more danger back in the day than you can now. That's for sure.
For sure. And especially rolling around plain clothes, some of the stuff we were doing, driving the cars we're driving in, the areas we're driving in.
Yep.
And then you don't want to give yourself away. So I got into a lot more shit.
Yep.
Not off duty, but plain clothes.
Yep.
That wasn't official police work.
Yep.
Than anything in official police work,
Yeah, I'm sure that the Lord kept me out of those positions so that I'd still be here with a job,
dude,
20 years later.
Yeah, it was wild.
Lord knows I probably would have gotten in trouble.
It was wild. So, 10 years on the team.
9.5 roughly, if we're getting exact.
Still on the team.
Yeah.
Took your sergeant's exam.
Yeah.
Got selected. You were going to be here yesterday, but you had to go get your sergeant chevron sewn onto your uniform.
I wasn't sure. So it's been a long time since I wore a patrol uniform. So I wasn't quite sure how long it would take them to get. It's just a couple of patches. You'd think it's not that big a deal. But next thing you know, you go in there on a Monday, like, we can't have it until next Tuesday because we're backlogged. Yeah, and sure enough, I walked in there and they said, well, we're really short right now. We're trying to hire more people. When do you need it? And I was like, Monday next week. And they're like, oh, that's fine. We can do that. I'm like, it's like a sigh of relief. Like, oh, thank God you can get this done for me. She said, can I let her know Thursday? Because she was going to get it to me today. And I was like, I'm not going to be here today. So you guys can have to Wednesday. How about that?
Yeah. So going to sergeant, you and I talked a little bit about some of the positions you might go to. I know you got two paths, and we don't have to obviously bore.
Yeah, there's a bunch of different paths. If anybody that knows, it's been transferred. Like nobody knows where you're going until you're going.
That's right.
Yeah. So yeah, I probably won't know. In fact, the second in command that called me had it on his paper where I was going, and I knew for a fact I wasn't going there.
Yeah.
Because he said I was staying where I was at,
yeah.
and I'm like, that's not happening, sir. And so, long story short, he said, "Oh, well, we'll figure it out." And I said, "Yeah, we will."
Yeah.
You let me know. You give me a call when you finally got where I'm going.
Yeah.
So I have an idea. Obviously, patrol is probably where I'll end up, which is fine. Let's go back to the roots and see how that is, and then from there, who knows, man.
Give me the I want to hear not the coolest, not the most badass. I want like the most ridiculous, funniest patrol story.
Patrol story?
Yeah, I want patrol.
That's like,
I want one from patrol, like, and then I want a SWAT one, because I've got a couple too, like when I was a patrolman or when I was I've got one standout when I was in narcotics. I've got one standout when I was in SWAT, and I got a bunch of dumb shit I did when I was a patrolman because I was young and stupid. But
I'm sure I got great patrol stories I probably shouldn't talk about on here. Statute of limitations. Back when cameras didn't exist, right?
Right. Same here for me. I never wore a body cam.
There was nothing crazy that we did that would get you, criminally charged.
Yeah.
But we did some dumb stuff for sure. It's not even a patrol call, but there was, and I almost feel bad for this now because who knows, maybe he watches this. I think he still might be around.
We're sorry.
There was a. I didn't do it.
Okay.
I just laughed at it, so I kind of off the hook in that regard.
All right, there you go.
There was a guy that everybody he was a good kid, man, but he was just a little goofy. And there was another guy on the squad who, since he left shortly after that, I think he became a cop up north in like Oregon or something like that. He put a Princess license plate on this guy's car every day for like 3 days, an entire week of shift. And it was just literally, it was pink and it just said Princess in pink. And he'd go at the beginning of shift and he'd unscrew his government plate and he put this over it and just let him drive around all shift with this plate. And then at one point he went and got a picture of him leaving like Burger King and then printed it out. And then at the end of the week, he went and had a plaque made. He said, "This is our little princess." And then he put that picture on there and handed it to him. He had no idea the entire week that plate was on his car. And he was like, "Wait a minute." He's like, "How long was that on there? When did you get this?" He's like, "Oh, Wednesday or whatever." Oh, I felt so bad for him. He handled it well, I think. Yeah. Right. He actually became a sergeant like, I don't know, 10 years ago, 8 years ago. He's doing well.
Give me a SWAT one.
Give me a SWAT one that I can actually talk about. Well, speaking of canine, we did have several canines that wouldn't bite.
You got bit recently, didn't you? I
did actually get bit recently. Bite's a loose word. So we had one dog that was a great dog, did a lot of good work for us, but was kind of getting the tail end of his career.
Yeah.
And he had a couple of incidents that were like, he might be getting a little off. And I was pulling in a house, and I'm at like an entryway in this, and there's one guy behind me, and my legs start shaking a little bit. I'm like, what the heck? I'm like, what's going on? And I don't want to look because I don't want to take away what I'm looking at. Yeah. But I did like really quick, and I see this dog just shaking my leg. Luckily, he had grabbed a little meat, but it slipped off of my ankle and then just held on to pant leg. And so I'm just standing there and he's yanking it, just a little, barely a scratch on my skin.
Ooh, you're lucky, dude.
And then he had a hold of a pant leg and he was, like a gator and that just got his last meal. And he got him off pretty quick, and they ended up retiring that dog. But yeah, he got me.
Whew, you're lucky, man.
Yeah.
Dude, oh man, it's some of the stories, like just funny shit too, like stuff you would never. I was a cop during Hurricane Katrina, down in New Orleans.
Yeah. Oh, we sent guys down there.
That was wild.
Yeah.
That was wild. Yeah, that was super crazy. That'll be for another. You can host me, and
There
we'll
you
talk
go.
about that.
Yeah.
Because there's some things we won't talk about because statute of limitation. It was wild. It was.
That's like
feast or
it's like which one should I, there's some really good funny stories.
Oh,
Maybe
yeah.
we'll save it for the app.
Yeah. Well, we can say it on this. This podcast, everything goes.
Yeah.
You send it on this podcast.
Yeah.
So, like, there was one house we hit once, and we breached the door, throwing flashbangs, all this shit. We come in, clear the house, and there's one dude laying on the couch, naked, with a rubber half on his dick. Didn't wake up at all. We're like, is he dead? And we got a guy covered him. Is he dead? And we can see him breathing. So we're all like, so we go to the freezer and we get a Tupperware bowl full of ice and water and walk over there. And we're all standing over him in full kit, full gear. We've already cleared the whole house. He's not the target, but he's just laying there. And we just dump this cold bucket of, and he like, like exorcist, like we just hit him with frickin', and adrenaline, and he pops up and we're all there. He's like, dude.
But it's funny you say a story like that because I do remember one story, and I can't remember if it was a burglary suspect or some suspect we were chasing out in patrol or in the early days, and we corner him where we think maybe he's in this place called the Personal Preference, and I'll let you use your imagination on what this might be before I get into the story.
Okay.
But
is this a store?
It's a store.
The Personal Preference.
It's called the Personal Preference. Now, we go in this store. We're like, we think he's down to. We got a decent perimeter in the area going. We're like, we think he's in this store, right? So we go in the store. And we're like, hey, have you seen this guy come in? And they say, yeah. They point over to their room and they say, yeah, I think he's in that room right there. So we're like, okay, cool. This store is long gone since then. But so we go walking in this room, and this room is a blacked out movie theater room with a nice big TV with going while you're walking in, and we're like, oh god, dude. And a couple of couches on the ground. And the floor is a little,
a little greasy.
Yeah. Well, we found him in there on the floor, hiding behind the couch. Well, I'm not putting cuffs on him.
No, I'm not touching him.
Hey Pete, you do it. Get him. We got him. Yeah. He was arrested for whatever the heck he was running for, but the Personal Preference. Yeah. It's a movie theater room.
Yeah, I think we can all guess what was on the floor and probably on the couch and all that stuff. Yeah. Oh, that's dude. And then, I got a Narcotics.
That's the kind of things that you deal with as a cop.
But that is the kind of stuff
you need to be paid more for that,
bro. So, I have a target. I'm watching this guy, this dope dealer. He's moving some weight, and we have surveillance set up on the house, and we send an informant down to go make a buy. So, informant goes down, buys some dope, comes back, brings us the dope, tells us where they're getting it. When we're watching on surveillance, we're seeing where they're keeping it, all that stuff. The main target shows up to the house. He's the guy really moving the weight. And so we get out and we basically make a stop, and we grab the guys, and I've got the guy up against the wall. I'm ready to do a pat down on him, and I've seen him visually serving people, right? Selling dope. And I pat him down, I'm patting him down, and I feel something in the crack of his ass. And for those of you out there, it is very commonly known that dope dealers will stuff the baggie of whatever, whether it's heroin or crack rock or whatever. Yeah. They stick it between their ass cheeks. And
or all the way.
So I actually had to write a search warrant for a dude's anal cavity. One in my career, I wrote one warrant for an anal cavity search. It got denied. They.
Oh, really?
No, I'm sorry. The warrant got signed by the judge, and then when we brought him to the hospital wouldn't serve it. They wouldn't do the.
Oh, really? Yeah. Well, we did. We did. So we did that one of those one time. We were just going after not high value, but more violent, tendency criminals for the probation office.
Right.
And we're at this apartment, third story apartment. And we're like, hey, go check the perimeter just to make sure there's no window. Like, it's third story, so we're not too worried about it. And they go look, and there's a window. You don't even think you can put a butt cheek through it.
Right.
And we're like, nah, it's good. He's not going anywhere. He's in there. And we're like, call. Send a dog in. Nobody there, so we clear it. He's not here. Probation, owned it. They, they're allowed to be there. We don't need a warrant or whatever. So we go through it. We clear it. It's empty. The girlfriend's there. Like, here, you can have your house back. One of the guys is thinking, God, how could he not be in there? Because for whatever reason, we like knew he was in there.
Right.
And then all of a sudden we cleared he's not in there. Like,
Yeah.
There's no way. So we go, hey, have the helicopter fly out. Is it up right now? What are they doing? Like, yeah, they're up. Like, yeah, have them cruise over. Just fly across. Just appease me and, you know, give me a peace of mind that we're leaving and we do our due diligence. Sure shit. Helicopter flies over. Yeah, he's on top of the roof, jumping from roof to roof. We're like, what the hell? Anyway, long story short, we get him, we find him, we cuff him. He's in his underwear, whatever. World-class Colorado free rock climber. Climbed out that little window off a 2-foot negative edge onto the top of the apartment complex and took off running while we were there. Dude. And there's no way we thought this dude could have been up there. Anyway, fast forward to match with your story is, lo and behold, he gets he says, hey, I have keistered some stuff.
I've keistered some stuff.
And all that, fast forward all that, get it out. He then tried to get us charged with, or not us, the hospital with a sex crime because they got it out of him.
Yeah. I don't even know how do you get it? Like, do you go forceps or like?
Luckily, I wasn't there. Yeah. I wasn't the new guy in that case.
Yeah. I wrote one. Hospital wouldn't serve the warrant, wouldn't go and get it. But I find this bag of dope in this dude's ass crack, and he's the main target. And we've made buys after buys after buys. So I don't even really need the dope for the arrest. But I certainly can't take him in the car to jail with dope in his ass. Yeah. So I'm like, dude, and he's motherfucking us, and he's being an asshole and yelling and blah blah blah. And I got him cuffed, and I'm like, dude, just reach in there. The cuffs are behind you. Just reach in there and get it out. Let's just go on our way, man. Like, come on. And he's insisting.
Hemming and hawing.
Yeah, hemming and hawing, insisting that he doesn't have any dope on him. Still carrying on. And I do that little pat down. And I'm hitting it and raking it. And he's and he's writhing and yelling. And I'm like, quit being an ass, dude. Like, just come on, let's go. You're going to jail anyway. Like, they're gonna strip you down at lockup and everything. And he's
squat and cough.
Yeah, he's hemming and hawing, and I'm getting angry now. Which, okay, I get. I was a young narcotics cop. Forgive me if I was right. And I grab a hold of the bag of dope through his jeans, and I grab it with my fingers, and I'm like, get the fucking dope out of your ass, man. Like, come on, motherfucker. I'm like, done. I'm ready to go. And he starts screaming. And I'm like, did you just shit did you shit yourself, bro? And I've got gloves on, of course.
Obviously.
And he's like, no, man, no, dog. That's my hemorrhoid. Yeah. And bro, sure enough, like when we brought him to lockup and we talked to the deputies at the jail, and they're like, dude, he had a hemorrhoid this big that you could see like sticking out of it. Yeah.
So it wasn't dope.
They're cracking.
It wasn't dope. It
was not dope. It was
a medical emergency.
It was a medical dude. He had a medical emergency for sure, bro. Like, that was one of some of the worst. That was horrible.
Criminal telling the truth.
So go figure, right? But
what are the odds?
He could have just.
You had a warrant for that,
dude. He literally could have just told me from the get go.
I have hemorrhoids.
You know, like maybe explained it to me, and then I'd be like, all right, maybe maybe that's possible. I'll let the guys in lockup find out.
Instead of trying to yank it out of his butt.
Exactly, dude. So yeah, we don't need any cool guy catching bad guy stories. We need funny, stupid stories, you know. So yeah, but dude, I do you think you're gonna miss the team? Well, I shouldn't say that. I know you're gonna miss the team because I miss the team.
I told the guys. I go, I'm gonna miss the work itself.
Yeah.
I never got tired of the work.
Right.
And even if it's a 2 a.m. call out, I never got tired of the search warrants, the barricades. I never got tired of that because that was fun. It was new. It was something different every time. You can't plan for that. The training got a little monotonous.
Yeah.
Shooting got a little monotonous because it's not your own shooting. You can't, hey Greg, you and I are going to go out and let's work on some things. Right. It's never that. No, it's always, hey, get out on the line and we're going to all do this one thing. Right. Which is, it's great. It's what you need. But it sometimes that part gets monotonous. A lot of the teaching, I think I'm going to miss. Some of the teaching of the younger guys,
Yeah.
I think I'm going to miss that. But if I'm going to this position, maybe I still do that, just on a smaller scale.
Yeah, I was going to say, you could probably still, I
Yeah.
mean, you still have the knowledge, experience, training.
Yeah.
You still do that. But I do
So
miss
yeah,
it.
I'm definitely 100% going to miss the work.
So that just means we need to dive into this more and getting you teaching classes down the Phoenix area more and doing events more and all that stuff.
For sure.
Well, and then also it's going to buy you some time for us to get in the trucks and get away.
Yep.
So,
which is going to be a big one. I think maybe every 3 we do one that's not filmed.
Yes.
And just disconnect.
Yes.
But the other 2, we have fun and we do this.
Yeah,
and
right.
we talk stories and we give insight into this world of ours.
Because I need that too. I told you today when we started, I was like, dude, we need to find 3 days.
Yeah.
I just want to go off in the woods in the trucks, go 4-wheel and go camp with a couple of the boys, and just get out and disconnect.
Yeah, being back off call for the first time in almost a decade is going to be wildly weird, I think, at first, because unfortunately, and this is my own fault, this is not like, oh, you could still get stuff done, is that I would never, after like the 3-year mark, I would stop doing projects no matter what, whether it's a car or whether it's a house project. I just wouldn't do projects because I didn't want to get knee deep in something.
Yeah.
And then not be able to, like, hey, I'm going to go clean my garage. Cool. You know how you clean your garage? Everything comes out.
That's right.
You
make a mess first.
You make an absolute mess, and then you start piecing things together. Well, imagine I'm piecing that together, and like, beep, 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 the bat phone rings.
Yep.
And then I got to go on that last 5 hours. By the time I come home, the sun's down. But I got all the shit in my yard, and my wife's like, what are you going to do with all that shit? So I just wouldn't do anything. So the shittiest part about the last 10 years was being at home and being off, but not being able to be off.
Right.
Like my boy would say, hey, let's go off-roading up north, or, hey, let's go visit Fieldcraft, or let's go, go to San Diego or go to Disneyland or something. Like, if it ain't planned, son, we're not doing it.
Right.
But you're off, Dad. You're sitting at home. Sorry.
Yeah.
I can't be more than, and the rule early on, they bend this one a little bit over the years, but the rule in the first 3 to 5 years was you're not to be any more than 20 minutes away from your truck, because that's where all your stuff is, and you got to be able to get to your truck and then get out on the road. Because we're so far from things, they wanted you on the road pretty as quick as
staggered
possible.
Response to you're not going to your team room getting your bear kite all the time. You're showing up in your units.
Truck. Yeah.
Someone's picking up
first
the
3 guys.
Yeah.
Get things set up. Start getting a perimeter. Start getting everything set up. Yeah. Bearcat will be on its way, but it'll be late because somebody else is picking
Someone's
that up.
Someone's got to go get it. Yep.
So if something goes now, then you guys are there. The first 3 guys are there to get it started and get working on it. So I won't miss that, at least not at first. I'll be able to do things and be like, yeah, dude. Man. Hey, let's go off-roading right now.
So I went the other way. My lieutenant sent me a screenshot of him pulling my name off the alert roster, and we use a system called Intrepid Alert. Intrepid Alert, it's a pager through your phone.
Yeah.
It'll override every quiet setting you have.
We have some agencies that use that, I think.
Yeah. You can
like the old Nextel or
exactly,
whatever.
Yeah.
Beep, beep.
Exactly. And and you can communicate on it and everything. You can respond, ma'am, fully, place. She's getting nudgy because she's been laying place. She's been podcasting with us all day.
Yeah, sweetheart.
Yeah, same thing. You can respond, so it'll show who's responding to the event already.
Yeah.
And he sent me a screenshot of me being off of it, and I literally was like, oh, man.
Because you knew what that meant.
It, hurt my heart.
Yeah,
dude.
It's not because you didn't want to be off call. Right. It's because you knew what the symbolization of that was. Yeah, whatever that word is. I'm a SWAT guy. I'm not real smart.
Bro, that's from
I'm not real smart.
Saints.
Yeah.
The symbolism.
Yeah, the symbolism.
Yeah.
You knew what the symbolism of that was.
Of course.
That means that you're not doing this anymore.
Right, exactly.
And that's the part that was like, oh, shit.
But I got over it pretty quick.
I bet.
And now I love it.
Yeah,
I love it because, no one's really looking for me.
Yeah, don't call me.
Don't
call me.
Exactly, right? So
I had one of the guys on the team, and I showed up to a job with him, working an extracurricular job, and I chucked my work phone at his feet, and I go, don't come Monday, don't be calling me anymore. And got him laughing, man. Got him laughing.
Dude, it's so funny. So you want to talk about staggered response and not more than 20 minutes from your car, right? And same thing, my car, I had it unmarked. I had a day box in the back, a
Yep.
day box armored. Oh, it's
Yep.
an armored box for my explosives. I was an explosive breacher.
Same.
So I had a box in the back of my truck for all my explosives, one side for actual charges and explosive material, one side for blasting caps, right? They're kept separately.
Separate,
Then obviously your gun locker for your stuff, and then all your kit, all your gear, you name it, right? And I had put myself off. I had to come out to, I was out in Colorado. For a jiu-jitsu event. And so I had officially put myself off on the roster, right? I'm off call. I'm good to go. I'm good to go on this little trip. And I'm in the Denver airport.
I'll get some audience.
What's up, kiddos? Some of my jiu-jitsu students are showing up.
Awesome.
I'm in the Denver airport, and my alert system goes off. And then I start getting the text threads. And I'm like, fuck, boys, be safe, guys. Like,
Do you not just want to go right
dude,
then?
all I want to do is like,
Screw
give me
this,
a private,
screw this trip.
teleport
I'm coming
me
back right
I'm
now.
flying home.
Yeah. Oh,
so
yeah.
I was in the airport
Let's
getting ready
go.
to fly back, right? But my flight's like in another 45 minutes to board and whatnot. I'm like,
You're feeling helpless.
feeling helpless,
Yeah.
panic, sweating, like,
Yeah.
oh my God, my guys are going to go without me. And so I'm checking in with them. I board the plane, checking in. Well, hey guys, I'm taking off. Godspeed, be safe. And you check the time. Yeah, we're good. We got about another 12 minutes or so. I check the time. I take off. Obviously, no phone signal, nothing. I'm flying from Denver to New Orleans. So not a short flight either, like 3 hours, I think, ish. And I land and I touch down, turn my phone back on. And what's the status, boys? Well, we're out here on perimeter. Negotiations have failed. I was like, guys, I just landed.
I'm going.
Yeah, I just landed. I got to drive across. I got to drive another 45 minutes to my house from the airport, get my car. I was like, boys, keep me in the loop. I'm coming. What do you guys need? Man, we're starving and we're thirsty. Roger this.
Sweet. Cute.
So
yeah.
land, grab my bags, running through the airport, get in my personal truck, haul ass across the lake to my car, and immediately home. Like, have you guys hit it yet? No, we just started deploying gas. I'm like, I'm fucking coming. Change, jump in my unit, run to the McDonald's, order sacks of cheeseburgers, right? Drive there, drop them all off. They're like, all right, negotiations failed. We just got the go-ahead to make entry, and we're going to explosively breach the garage door. And I'm like, cool, roger that.
Say no more,
I've got
fam.
the charge. So I'm in Denver, Colorado when the call comes out. They've been sitting out there on perimeter for hours. I show up with cheeseburgers for them, and I get the explosive breach on the house.
That's a perfect
They're
story.
like laughing. How the
Perfect
fuck,
story.
man?
Yeah.
Like, it's ridiculous. So you can't,
You can't. You just can't. Yeah.
make that stuff
The worst part, and it's something I didn't do as much in the latter years, but like you go to dinner and say it's further than 30 minutes. Like, all right, babe, you're driving your car and I'm going to drive my work truck. And then,
yeah.
So if we leave dinner, because if not, I'm going to have to go back to the house.
Right.
And then I'm going to be late
That's
because I'm going to be delayed and then something happens there. And it's like,
Yeah.
it's just a pain.
Yeah. So truck-wise, because we got a few minutes, but I want to talk about some of the off-road stuff that we're going to be doing.
Yeah.
Are you going to go to Expo West?
Yes. Yeah, I will be there.
right.
Whether or not the truck will be there. So the truck, my other truck, those that followed long enough know that I have two giant trucks right now.
The Prospector.
The Prospector XL, which was not in Expo West last time. It was
Right.
the Power Wagon was in the Truck Vault booth last year. I do not know if it's going to be in the show or if I'm just going to be hanging out, but
Right.
I will definitely be there with the monstrous Toyo 42s.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah.
I've got so much jealousy from that. So if you're going to Expo West down in Prescott, right?
Flagstaff.
Sorry, in Flagstaff, Mikey Hernandez will be there. Mason will be there.
Yep.
He'll have his AEV Prospector. Thing is sick. On 42, Toyo 42s.
Yep.
I'm running 37s.
There might be some
on
out
my
now,
Ram.
but it was the first set. It was at SEMA.
So I'm obviously my Ram. I have a Ram too.
Yeah.
It's
when are we going to get 40s on that?
so
After your transmission purchase.
yeah. So the transmission's getting put in right now, not by choice, but we have a deal with Nitto, and so Mikey's working.
They have 40s.
Yeah, they do, but right now they don't because of King of Hammers.
Oh,
They literally
ate through them all.
Yeah. So Mikey was like, I'm going to get Nitto to get you a set of tires for your truck since your truck's being used at all these vents.
Yeah.
And I said, all right. I said, if you do, and so after our conversation, I was like, if you do, have them send me 40s.
It forces you into it.
It forces
the
me
exact
to do
same thing
the-
I said.
It forces me to do the fender cut from AEV.
And I'm about to go bankrupt because of it.
Yeah.
But it was worth it.
Well, all I got to do is the fender cut, fender
Yeah.
flare setup from
Yeah.
AEV. So I'm hoping you can get me a deal on that
Yeah.
too, by the way.
Yeah, let's do it.
But I was like, if they send me tires, have them send me 40s.
Matt from AEV, if you're listening, I'm going to call you.
There you go. There you go. So now they're like, okay, we can get him tires. And I said, Mikey, if they can get me 40s, have them send me 40s. But apparently they got a new tire size where it's 11.5 inches wide instead of 12.5. So they've got more like slightly bigger pizza cutter
But
type.
still 40s.
Well, no. So I think these are 37s or 38s.
Oh.
And I was like, look.
Why are you going so small?
I know, dude. 37. Since when was a 37-inch tire small?
So tiny.
But, dude, they look small on the Rams.
They are.
They look small.
Yeah.
So
It's because the Rams' wheel wells are so big. And then you're going to trim them up. They're going to really look small.
I know. So Nitto, Mikey Hernandez, I think we really need to do 40s on the Ram.
Trim
Just
those
saying.
fenders. Let's
Just
go.
saying. Just saying. So who knows? Maybe I'll have 40s. But next time you come out here or when I'm going down in April to you,
Yeah.
I'll be driving the truck.
All right.
So I'll be driving the truck down. So be on the lookout for Mason and his truck at Expo West. Be on the lookout. We are going to be doing some training down in the Phoenix area near where he lives. We've got an event coming up called We the Prepared.
Yeah.
And then Mason's going to start running some Fieldcraft courses down there, pistol, carbine, etc. Maybe some vehicle CQB stuff like what I'm doing in San Bernardino in a couple of weeks.
Yep. Let's do it.
What I know we got to wrap up because we got to get you to the airport. We're probably going to hit some traffic. What last words do you have for the crew out there listening? So Together We Go, obviously, it used to be Mike Force, and there's a lot of people that have transitioned over. Some of the people like the new direction we're going.
Yeah.
Some of the people hate me because I'm not Mike Glover.
Nah, you can't hate Greg, man. Listen, I've been around since the beginning, and Mike's good people. It's going through some stuff.
Yep.
We'll let him do that. Stick around. Give us a chance. I think you're going to be surprised at how much you enjoy the content still.
Yep.
I can't promise you're going to enjoy it as much, but I think you're going to enjoy it regardless.
Yeah.
And then to all the law enforcement out there, just keep doing a good thing. If you're thinking about getting into law enforcement, just do it, man. And just keep your training up.
Be good.
Keep your training up. Be good at what you do.
Yeah.
And don't ever slack. So
That's it.
That's all I can say.
And reach out to guys like Mason, guys. Like I get questions all the time, young guys looking to get into law enforcement.
I used to answer a lot more, and I don't probably because I don't post as much law enforcement stuff, but it doesn't stop me from wanting to help you. So
same here.
If you have something, send it out for sure. If I don't have the answer, I can get it for you.
Yeah.
Because I'm not, I don't know. I definitely don't know everything.
Nope. Same here. So leave some comments below. Tell us what you think. Ask some questions. Mason, you're going to see a lot more of Mason on the Fieldcraft Survival channel, on the Fieldcraft Survival app. We're getting Mason involved a lot more back into the company.
Yeah.
So like, comment, subscribe, leave us a comment down below. Go check out some of the stuff that Mason and I did on the Fieldcraft Survival channel, separate to Together We Go. And
Together we go.
Together we go, man. Gunfufighter on Instagram. Give him a follow. Make fun of him a little bit or something. Leave a funny comment.
I deserve it.
We all deserve it. I deserve it as well. But yeah, brother, together we go, man. Thank you, bro.
We all know something's wrong, but who's gonna change it? There's a